Okay, and then almost 2 months to the day of the magical day, I get a phone call from Christine, from Goshen's Social Services. And she says, Jill, I think you and Johnny should come and make an appointment. It's very important to counsel you on scenarios that could happen. And she said, I think it's a good idea. Now, I hadn't at that point gotten anything from Albany, no response whatsoever. So as far as I knew, they were still trying to make a connection, and the paperwork was in Albany flying around someplace, but I didn't hear anything. But then she made that call, and I called you right away and said, do you want to come up for the meeting? And you said, absolutely.
And the meeting was to prepare us to how to meet our daughter for the first time.
Right.
It might be a cold meeting, it might be a warm meeting, what to say, what not to say.
Right, and they gave us, scenarios that I never even thought of, so
Yeah.
it was good that we went. So we scheduled it for January 23rd. You flew up, and we went to the meeting on the 23rd. Now this time, the meeting, it was just four of us. It was Christine, and then she had, I don't remember his name, but he was a counselor, who this was his specialty. And that's when he sat down. Some of the things, of course, the best scenario is we find our daughter. She's got a wonderful life. She embraces us. We're a happy family. We're going to spend Christmases together. All that. That's the best.
Right.
Of course, the worst is that she hasn't made an attempt. She's not in the Albany registry, or she's dead. And these were possibilities. That's not something I wanted to hear. And then there were all kinds of other things where she would reject us, or what were some of the other, do you remember?
Chip on her shoulder. Why'd you guys give me up?
Right,
What's
anger,
right.
Anger
and disappointment and everything.
Right, yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah, but like I said, these were things I just hadn't thought of before. Because to me, I'm Pollyanna. I think everything's going to work out fine. And
my main reason for going through all this was to find her, to tell her story. Everybody wants to know their origin story. Like the superheroes always have one. I was bit by a radioactive spider or something. So I'm sure she's curious what her parents were like. How did she arrive at this adoptive family? What was the process? She had a million questions that deserved an answer. And I was bound and determined to answer every question she wanted.
Right.
Anything beyond that was just gravy. But that was the main deal for me.
Yeah, well, for me, my biggest fear over all those decades when she was living her life was that she hated me. That,
Sure.
how could you do this to me? You're an awful person, and you didn't love me and all this and that. And that's what I wanted to let her know, that she was loved and that we wanted her. And I just, I figured, oh gosh, that's another thing. They said she could be really messed up, from feeling rejection.
Sure.
and things like that. And then someone else said that she might have some kind of addiction, psychological, and because, from feelings of inferiority or whatever. But there were a list, like 15 different things and different scenarios. And, so I really, really appreciated them telling us all that. It was food for thought.
But we knew something was up, because they wouldn't have brought us all the way up for that meeting unless something was going to be revealed eventually.
I remember you
soon.
saying that. You said, Christine's got something up her sleeve. She knows something. And I said, well, Johnny, I haven't heard anything, And then, so that was January 23rd. And I remember this, January 30th is the day I get my first letter from Albany. And it stated that, yes, all parties have registered. Now, if you want to try to make a connection, here are the forms, fill them out, And same thing, that she would have the same thing, and if she wanted to meet us, she would fill her forms out, send to Albany, then again, they would make the connection, and then send us each other's information. So, I mean, then I was over the moon thrilled when I got the letter, because I'm going, well, that means that she, we got a 50-50 chance that she's going to want to sign the permission slips and, and get our contact information. So then we're just waiting. You know what? I jumped ahead. There was something that happened after the meeting. This was important. Okay. They suggested, Christine and the counselor at the meeting, that, why don't you prepare a letter? In case you get the information, you can both send her a letter. And so when we got back from Goshen, we went to my apartment, and I was very well behaved this time. And and I think I had some toast in a toaster, and we sat down and started writing a letter. Now, I couldn't finish it, but I have a picture of you sitting on the couch writing the letter to her.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got my tripod out, and we took a beautiful picture of us together. So we said, okay, we're going to include the 2 letters and the picture to her. So, yeah. And so that's what we did. You wrote the letter, and I was digging them out. And I found them, and I just...
Do tell.
I have them with me because I just was so moved by it. I have it here. Would you like to?
This is the letter I wrote to Mandy, who was our daughter, with a different name. And let me see here. And this is the actual letter.
Yeah,
I
this
wrote.
is the actual letter.
To my daughter. When Joe called and told me you had been found, I was thrilled. I would love to talk to you, to write you, to meet you. For the past 35 years, whenever I looked at the few pictures I had of you, I could only wonder what had become of you. And pray that you were having, I can't do this, and pray you are having a wonderful life with a wonderful family. I hope this short note is just the beginning of a long conversation. You must have a million questions, and I want to answer each and every one. But first off, you should know how much Jill and I wanted you, and loved you, and ultimately missed you. You were never forgotten. Your father and your friend, John.
Oh, no. Okay, I don't know how to see how I'm going to do it. That was beautiful, Johnny. That was just beautiful. Okay, here's mine. To my daughter, I cannot tell you how overjoyed I am to have found you at last, and am anxious for the day when we will finally be reunited. All I can do is pray that you can forgive me, and I am encouraged by the fact that you want to see me as a sign of hope. I want to tell you everything and answer all of your questions. You need to hear your story, how very much in love your father and I were, how hard your father fought to keep us together, and how very much we both wanted to keep you. That I was so young, it was a different time, and my parents were irrationally hard-hearted and unrelenting. As your birth mother, I want to tell you this. Not a day has gone by that I did not think of you, my daughter. Pray for your health and happiness, and pray that somehow in your heart you knew that you were and still are loved by me. Please believe me that giving you up was an act of love, was totally unselfish, and was the most difficult decision of my life. John, your birth father, is an honorable, wonderful man. Although we live separate lives, we have come together to find you. I have enclosed a letter from your father. We are hoping that you will accept both of us together at our first meeting. Please know that the details of our first meeting are entirely your decision. We will come to you, together or separately. to any place where you will feel most comfortable. I am looking so forward to seeing you again. Love, your mother. Oh man, it brings those emotions back to
Yeah.
20 years.
20 years ago, yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Still,
But we got to say ahead of time so she would know how we felt. All right, let me just take a minute here. So I held onto your letter and the picture, and January 30th, then I got the information, but it still needed to go out. And I don't remember the date, but her information was sent to me within a few weeks. And I remember calling you, and this is so silly, but I was crying because her name wasn't Mandy. They changed it. It was Kerry, like Kerry. And I'm going, but they promised me that they wouldn't change your name. And then, foolishly, she was in Nashville. And now I'm crying, Nashville's so far away. I thought she'd be in New York.
yeah.
You know,
yeah.
it's so foolish. I'm thinking she's going to be in New York where we left her, and her name is going to be Amanda. And so, I mean, and you said to me, but Jill, we found her. You know, I was like, we found her. And of course, then that disappointment didn't last very long. And I don't know who she called first.
I think she called you first.
Well,
Because you called me from the A&P.
I was in the A&P, and I'm shopping. I got my little basket, and all of a sudden my phone rings, because cell phones. And anyway, I answered the phone, and I don't remember what she said, but you know, this is your daughter, or what I don't remember. All I know is that I remember pushing the cart, and I'm just walking in circles with this cart, I can't believe what's going on. And it just so happened that there was a woman that was in my Monday night AA meeting with the women's club, who I had been opening up forever about my story. And she's there, like in the frozen foods, you know. So I'm on the phone, and I'm going, oh my God, you know, trying to, it's my daughter. And anyway, I mean, it was just, I got to share that moment with somebody that I was close to, and that was just a little sidebar, but it's just something I remember all the time. And I don't remember what happened, because we said we were going to let her call us. We weren't going to, So then when did she call you?
A couple hours later. And we had a great conversation. You know, you don't know what to expect. Like, meeting you after 35 years, I didn't know what to expect. And here's a daughter after 35 years, and I don't know what kind of person she is. Would I even like her? You know, was she a great person or a crappy person? You know, I mean, what does she look like? You know, I mean, you know. And so it was interesting to talk to her on the phone and kind of size her up from that before we actually met her. But that first conversation, of course, I mean, she calls you up and hello, you know, hi, this is your daughter. Whoa. Wow. You know.
Yeah. One other thing that meant a lot to me, while I was waiting, you know, before we even had any idea that we were going to be able to make a connection, I was writing and trying to keep my sanity, and because I'm dealing with being in love with you and I can't have you, and you know, all this and that. So I said, okay, I'm going to do something proactive. And I decided to make a scrapbook to give to Mandy when we met her, because I just, in my heart, I couldn't see it any other way that we wouldn't get to meet her. And so I made a scrapbook for her with pictures and telling her all about.
And you made
us.
one for me as well.
And I made one for you as well, and me. I made 3 of them and I gave it to you when you had come up for the meeting, the
Yeah.
second meeting, and I put it in a big angel box.
Yeah.
And what did you tell me you did
I carried it on my lap all the way home.
on the plane?
Yeah.
Yep.
I still have it.
Yes, you do. Because you're an angel. I put it in an angel box.
I know.